Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started. Welcome to Building 111. I'd like to introduce the Executive Director of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Rick Cotton.
Good morning. Well, this is really quite a gathering. We do seem to have a little mismatch between attendees and chairs, but that allows us to say that we had a standing room only event. So congratulations to the advance team. I'm going to quickly run through some acknowledgments and then make a few remarks, and then we will have many of our distinguished guests offer some comments of their own. But in terms of acknowledging who's in the audience, and I will do this quickly because for many of these individuals we'll come back to them for the program. Congressman Gregory Meeks is here. Queensborough President Donovan Richards. Assembly Member Alicia Heineman. Julissa Gutierrez, the New York State Chief Diversity Officer. Former New York City Comptroller Bill Thompson. Jennifer Almont, CEO of New Terminal One. New Terminal One's general contractor, represented by Eric Reed, Executive Vice President, AECOM Tishman. Steve Thody, Interim CEO, JFK Millennium Partners. JMP's general contractor, represented by Chris Morante, Senior Vice Chairman, AECOM Hunt. Ruel Hunig, CEO of JFK IAT. Ryan Marzullo and George Guillami, Delta Airlines. Obi Carnodal, Director of Government Affairs, American Airlines. And the Port Authority's general contractor on the JFK Roadways project, Skanska Halmar. And I do want to represent six, it's a hard selection, but six staff members who have worked so hard on the JFK project itself. Teresa Rizzuto, General Manager, JFK. Jessica Force, our Program Executive for JFK Redevelopment. Gina Bigler, Director of Construction, JFK Redevelopment. Jose Febrele, Chief of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion at the Port Authority. Luke Bassis and Joanne Spirito, Directors of our Port Authority Procurement Department. And Rochelle Antoine and Akshar Patel, who represent our Redevelopment Community Outreach Office. So this is a great day. It really is. It's an inspiring day. Welcome, first of all, to Building 111. That's the building you're standing in. It is mission control of the JFK historic transformation. And there's a story, actually, behind Building 111. It was not in the shape that you currently see it. It was one of the first projects that the Port Authority undertook itself in terms of a total top-to-bottom renovation. We're here because Building 111 is the central hub for our $19 billion transformation of JFK. But we're also here for another reason, because this building, the renovation of it, was for us a poster child for what we wanted to achieve across the airport. It was built almost entirely by minority and women-owned business enterprises. Including, I might say, the cafeteria space that we're standing in. And if you didn't notice it, Sabor is the MWBE operator of providing food for this cafeteria. Now, when we embarked on a brand new JFK, we were very clear that we were committed not only to building a world-class airport, but to seeking record levels of participation by minority and women-owned businesses and local businesses. And today, I'm pleased to announce that the JFK redevelopment project has now set a new record for MWBE participation at any project in New York State. So far, and we're not done, the Port Authority and our private partners have awarded $2.3 billion in contracts to MWBE firms. So I'm going to repeat that. The Port Authority and our private partners have now awarded more than $2.3 billion in contracts here at JFK. Some 680 MWBE firms have been awarded contracts with the redevelopment project. We've also awarded nearly $1 billion in contracts to more than 200 local businesses based in the communities around JFK. Until today, the LaGuardia Airport redevelopment project, also in Queens, by the way, held the record for the largest MWBE participation in one of our projects at $2.2 billion. But today, we surpass that record, more than $2.3 billion in MWBE contracting here at JFK. And we're not done yet. But it takes more than what the Port Authority's Board of Commissioners did in 2018 of setting a goal for 30% participation, which was up from the prior goal of 17%. But the entire board voted for that. But it takes more than just setting a goal. It has taken hard work, planning, and guidance from our JFK Redevelopment Community Advisory Council, which has been such a key part of our leadership here, of our effort here, and it has been under the leadership of Congressman Gregory Meeks and Queensborough President Donovan Richards. So can I ask individuals from the Advisory Council who are here with us today to raise their hands, just so we can say thank you. And we will hear shortly from our two co-chairs. But not only did we recruit MWBE and local firms with the assistance of the Advisory Council, we created programs, and I might also say at the urging of the Advisory Council, to help companies develop the skills to bid for, compete for, and win airport contracts. We set up an academy, that's what we called it, for principals, for executives at architecture and engineering firms to help them understand how to navigate the procurement processes for those professional services contracts. We set up what we called a contractor coaching program that trained firms, again, in the application process and then the record-keeping process that working at the airport brings. I always say the Port Authority tries its best to be difficult to work for. And that, by the way, we succeed at. But in order to have small firms go through the rigorous process of application, of all of the things that goes into the application, of applying, of getting through the procurement process, we recognized and we worked at making it accessible. We put together construction mentoring programs to recruit and train and mentor, again, construction companies that wanted to be subcontractors in part of the construction effort. And we in fact ran what we called internally project readiness programs, but they really were boot camps. They were really tough training sessions to equip MWBEs and local businesses with the skills and training to both bid and succeed in the competition for contracts. We also put together what we called an Institute of Concessions. Local and diverse businesses through the Institute of Concessions are getting the training they need to open shops, to compete for those opportunities, and open restaurants in JFK's terminals. As I said, you can see an example of a local concession right here in Building 11, where Sabor Restaurant and Bakery, a local Queens-based MWBE, is the key operator. The JFK redevelopment team, with our private partners, has sponsored hundreds of seminars, webinars, forums to help firms become MWBE certified and to network with prime contractors. And I'd actually, in terms of MWBEs who have run that gamut, would MWBEs who have worked on the JFK project please raise your hand? So I want to thank those who raised their hand, the 600 plus businesses who have helped in the construction, in the operation, in the design and financing of JFK. Thank you to you, and we really are proud of your participation in our efforts to pave the way for that. But also, this is building a new airport from the ground up is a team sport. And we would not be here today without our terminal developers, without our strong partnership with a multitude of private companies. You're going to hear from some of them, but I would ask our private partners at New Terminal 1, Delta and JFK IAT, JFK Millennium Partners with JetBlue, American Airlines, to raise their hands with their construction general counsels, general contractors. They would not want to be general counsels. But let me ask the executives from them to raise their hands, because again, without and it's easy to say, but really hard work has gone on by all of our private partners, and we would not be here today without their efforts. I also want to thank, from the Port Authority, the JFK Community Outreach Office, which continues to be an invaluable piece of our outreach efforts. And I'd also like to ask our workers at the JFK Redevelopment Office here in the community and Port Authority staff who are working so hard to coordinate all of the efforts to raise their hands and say, I'd like to say thank you. And finally, I want to make a point about accountability. We use these figures. We pay enormous attention to these figures, but we monitor the program rigorously to ensure that we are doing what we can to recruit and prepare MWBEs, but we also want to be able to point to the fact that we have had reviewers, not part of the Port Authority, third-party reviewers, look at these figures and certify their accuracy. So I'd like to say thank you to our consultants, Crescent and R.F. Wilkins, that served as compliance officers, continue to serve as compliance officers. They're both MWBE and local firms, and I'd like them to raise their hands as well. So we made promises. We've delivered on promises. We're committed to doing that for the rest of the JFK redevelopment. We look forward to working not only with our current private partners, our current MWBE partners, but those who will join the project in the future. World-class airport, world-class focus on benefits to community. That's what we will deliver on. Thank you. So I would now like to call to the program an individual who not only is a co-chair of the redevelopment project, but is a really major force, not only in the national government. He is the ranking member of the House Foreign Relations Committee, but also a major figure, as I'm sure everybody in this room knows, within the Queens community, within New York City, within the state. And he has been really an extraordinary partner, holding us to our promises, but helping and advising us along the way. Congressman Gregory Meeks.
This is a good morning. You know, I think of the words oftentimes of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. His last book was, Where Do We Go From Here? Community or chaos? And there's opportunities to go into chaos if it was not for the community coming together and working together. And that's what has happened here in southeastern Queens and all across this borough. Individuals decided to come together, community. I can recall a long time ago, 26 years ago, when I first got elected to Congress, the big issue was the light rail, whether or not it would be successful, whether or not we would have the participation to help build it, what we would be doing in that regards. And I can remember the struggle that we had at times with the community to try to make sure folks were involved. And Jim Heiliger, who I see was here, working very hard and made sure that the community got its fair share and worked out. Thank you, Jim, from the very beginning of trying to make sure that we had inclusion in JFK. Because at that time, there was a question of whether or not we could work with the Port Authority or not. That was an issue in the community. You have a big airport, and whether or not the airport could become an economic engine for the community, creating jobs and opportunities in the community. Could it even resemble, was the conversation at that particular time, what every African American looked at as the Golden Star, Atlanta, and what Maynard Jackson did at Atlanta Airport. That was the goal, to look at and see if we could accomplish and move, and we started working together. And I got to tell you, when I look at and on this great borough, first, LaGuardia Airport. I don't know how many people have recently traveled through LaGuardia Airport. But we remember that the current president, he was vice president at that time, said that it was like a third world airport. And the state of New York became focused on making sure that that airport was transformed. And we looked at the progress, and that's why one of the reasons why previous to JFK, they had the largest number of participations of minorities and local folks in the state of New York. But it took the right appointment, the right person, to be at the helm of the Port Authority. You got to have somebody that's there that's going to direct everything, that's going to take the headaches and the screams, because this ain't easy. Even my yelling and screaming sometimes behind closed doors. But who would listen and be cooperative. I've got to tell you, because my goal always was, as soon as I saw, and he had me helping and participating somewhat to a degree, I don't want any of my colleagues that's from the other part of Queens to get upset, but it wasn't my district, but I had interest in making sure that we transported and had continued with having African-American, Hispanic, minority inclusion in that airport. This guy called me in and we got some done. But then it became my focus. I said, well, look, we're going to do this at LaGuardia. It's good, but I know where the next stop's going to be. And I would have a little bit more of our community to work to get things done. And Rick Cotton, will always remember this. He had me come to his office at the Port Authority building. And we talked about it. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure was that we worked from the bottom up and the top down. And that we were going to look at every dime. Because sometimes in these programs, what happens is you get a crumb. And we're supposed to be happy with that crumb. You get certain positions, and others are off the table. So when we looked at this, I said, Rick, we got to have equity in these projects. Now, it's never a giveaway because, as we're talking and fighting now about DE&I, diversity, equity, and inclusion, some think that's a giveaway. Some think that's just, a charity. No, it's not. It's good business. And so we wanted to make sure at Kennedy Airport we did good business. And we needed to make sure that that climate, that message got through to all of our partners because this is a public-private partnership, which is where I believe we need to go. Government can't do everything by itself. We need public-private partnerships to get things done, to benefit the folks, and that's exactly what this is. And you needed someone to relay that message. I'm here to tell you that we would not be where we are without the focus, without the determination, without the leadership of the chairman of the Port Authority, Rick Cotton. Executive Director. Rick, I want to thank you for every commitment that you've made. And we got more to go. You've kept. And I know that there's complaints that happens, and that's part of this process. But I can tell you on behalf of all 570,000 people that I represent, and the entire borough that my distinguished partner and brother, my younger brother, actually, he could be my son. The borough president, Donovan Richards. But Rick, I personally want to thank you. From the meeting we had first, and all of my colleagues in government, and that's why I want to thank Alicia Hyman and all of the elected officials from Southeastern Queens that participated in this. We were in your office. I said we needed more so that we can give your thoughts, your comments, and hear them from all around the table. And then we said, bring in some people that had a vision also. And you sat and you listened. And we put a program together that has led to this day. So thank you, Rick Cotton. Give Rick Cotton. He deserves it. And where's Hirsch? Hirsch, I want to thank you. Your dedication, your work, your listening, your picking up the phone, no matter what time of day or night it was, when I had questions and wanted to get certain things done, your focus, thank you. Thank Hirsch for what he's done. To all of the partners the private partners from all of the terminals, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for what you've done and what you will continue to do. And I'm just going to call out something because I think that it's important. One person who's not here today, but who helped with Terminal 1, Gerard Rochelle. He worked, he was focused, he wanted to make sure that this goal, this was more than just a job for him. And I just have to acknowledge the hard work and the partnership that he has given to this community and to me. And I want to thank him publicly for all of the work that he's done. And I think we're fortunate, Jennifer, that we have you. I got to tell you, I know that you're coming in and getting things done and bringing in my partner, Melvin, who makes all the difference in the world. But I just had to give kudos to Gerard because he did such a great job, and I have the confidence in you in continuing the work that he started. And with that, you know, some of that is, you know, you look at Terminal 1, 30% equity owned by JBL, JCL, JLC. Also JLC, also known to me as Jim Reynolds and Magic Johnson. Their work and what they do. And at Terminal 6, our former controller, Bill Thompson. Equity owners. This is not sweat equity, folks. They put up the money. And that's what I'm talking about. This stuff is not fake. This is real. And sometimes we forget the struggles. This project is real. Some people are forgetting now all over the place that we hit COVID. Everything came to a halt. And right before COVID, we had two members that was part of this project that are now members of the city council. Sylvania Brooks Powers and Natasha Williams, who headed the community space. And of course, they were succeeded by two great people, Rachel and AK. But those were tough days. Sometimes we didn't know whether the project was going to make it or not. Remember, what was hardest hit during COVID was airports, because nobody traveled. Money dried up. We had to persevere. And we did. We almost had to restart and get folks hooked in. And so with the JFK Redevelopment Community Advisory Council, I've got to acknowledge you, because going through those difficult times, you stuck in, you stayed there, you took the course and tried to make sure that even outside the airport, the organizations that we can partner with to make and be sure that this community continues to move and grow and participate, and the airport is an asset to it. And thank you, Stacey Grant, for conducting and moving our meetings together and having us there. So for me, this is a thank you for a job that we really got to do and we've got to complete. You know, I could go on. I know that one of the things, as Rick said, that we had to do to make sure with reference to the numbers, you know, I know how we can, you know, numbers can be fudged at times. And so you've got to make sure that they're real. And the best place, because me and my colleagues, you know, Donovan is all over the borough, you know, and this is one of the things that, you know, you come in, he probably will say it, you know, he's favorite for these words. Queens gets the money. It's all over. Alicia and the members of the state legislature is back and forth to Albany. Our city council folks are doing certain things, and we're not the experts on the numbers and how do you guide them and whether they do, but we know some people who are. Crescent and R.F. Wilkins are. So Ms. Green and Ms. Wilkins, we thank you for being our checkers, to looking and to making sure that everybody is living up to their numbers and living up to what we hear in the community, so that we can count and say with our shoulders straight out that we know the work that's getting done. And we know that the people that are doing it, so all of those that I saw raise their hands that are participating in that, we know you're not here just for window dressing. You're here because you're the very best at what you do. And it's good business. And so as I stop, because I'm really proud today at all of the people that are here and the partnerships, and we're working from all of the terminals, all of the terminal leaders, the terminal providers, whether it's Terminal 1, Terminal 4, Terminal 6, Terminal 8, Terminal 5. I'm proud of all of you, because it takes teamwork to make the dream work. And this is a dream that is turning into reality. So it's not just a dream. And we've got a lot more work to do. $2.3 billion. And we still got a lot of more that we're going to do. We haven't even started concessions. We haven't even started, whether you're, working as a laborer or working as Bill is as one of the equity folks, or working as a consultant, or working, even, I got a shout out, I don't know if labor's here. We've been working with labor. They have a part of this. This is the ultimate teamwork. To each and every one of you, you wouldn't be in here if you were not a part of this. This is a unity event. This is an example that I know, because as I talk to my colleagues in the United States Congress, just about every one of them that have an airport in their district are watching what we're doing here in the same way that we had previously watched what was happening in Atlanta. And they're coming and they're saying, Greg Meeks, can I see how y'all doing what you're doing and how you're doing it at JFK? We want to follow that. And when they see this announcement of $2.3 billion and more to come, they're going to want to be just like us in southeastern Queens at JFK Airport. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for the support, the advice, and as the Congress made clear, the occasional yelling and screaming, which brings us, of course, to the Queensborough president. An executive of a public agency could not ask for two better co-chairs of a community advisory council, because really, as was implicit in the congressman's remark, it is a balance. It is a balance where we're asking for their help, and there's a balance where they're making clear what their priorities are, and they are holding feet to the fire in terms of delivery. It's one of the reasons we have third-party verifiers. We want the verification to have the credibility within the community, and we in particular wanted to have credibility with our two co-chairs. And with that, I'd like to bring Donovan Richards to this podium.
Well, at least you know what you're getting when you see me. But what a great morning. I couldn't think of a better way to start the week. First off, Nixon 5. All right, so we got to say that. But certainly couldn't think of a better way to start the week with my co-chair, Congressmember Gregory Meeks, my mentor, my big brother. I guess I add Pop now. But truly, this is about community, and it's a labor of love. And we often look at these large-scale projects that happen across the country, across the city. And often, we're reminded that our communities are locked out of those opportunities. But there's no better way, once again, to talk about justice and job creation and economic development than here and what we're doing right here at JFK. $19 billion. And let me say this, I have never seen a number this high on an MWBE project. $2.3 billion in contracts. Let's say that again, $2.3 billion in contracts for MWBEs and $1 billion in contracts for Queens-based businesses. There's an old philosopher by the name of Jay-Z. And he said, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So Queens is truly getting the money. And to call this historic would be the understatement of this century. And of course, I have to acknowledge, as my co-chair alluded to, Rick Cotton. Thank you, because I know it's not easy dealing with folks like me. Of course, to Governor Hochul, to Hirsch, to so many members of the team, Crescent, R.F. Wilkins, thank you all. Rochelle, A.K., thank you. Stacy, thank you. Because this truly is about partnership, and public and private partnership. And as the Congress member alluded to, if we rely on government sometimes, nothing gets built or gets built really slowly. But to have public and private partnerships really moves these projects forward. And of course, projects of this size are almost impossible to get right. And it takes principled, visionary leadership to make it happen. And that's what we have with so many of our partners in this room. But it also takes persistence. And that's what we're bringing to the table as well. You know, as the Congress member alluded to, from the very start of this project, we've been clear that those closest to the pain must be closest to the power. And Southeast Queens has to deal with the plane noise. Southeast Queens has to deal with the traffic. So it's only right that the residents and businesses of Southeast Queens reap the benefits here. And of course, we stay on that bandwidth too long. You know, there's some key indicators that Queens continues to lead the way, and I talked a lot about this a few weeks ago at my State of the Borough. When I became borough president, December 2nd, sworn in, our unemployment rate was about 24%. But today, with the help of the thousands of jobs we've created at places like JFK, that number is now down to just 4%. The lowest in the city. Manhattan, take that. And as long as we keep empowering our MWBEs and Queens-based businesses, that number will continue to dip and to drop, because it's all about FUBU, for us and by us. And I want to get out of the habit of just talking about how many businesses are benefiting from this project. I want to talk about how many lives we are changing with this project, because it is easy to say 680 MWBEs and 200 Queens businesses getting contracts. But it's another thing to say that thousands of workers can put food on their table, pay their rent, and keep their lights on. That their kids can go to school with clean clothes on their backs. That they have careers that they can be proud of. Because that's what we're really talking about today, the people of Southeast Queens who've long been left behind, but may the last be the first. What we're talking about is dignity and upward mobility. So I want to thank everyone, the team, of course, Jim Heiliger. I was much younger. Now, Greg was kind. He was yelling. But we need that passion. We need that passion, because it is truly about holding us accountable and being transparent. Of course, we have a lot more work to do, because I would love to see this number at least double, if not triple, quadruple, as we talk about these contracts. So God bless you all. Thank you to everyone who helped us arrive at this moment. Queens, get the money.
Thank you, Borough President, and thank you again for your partnership, advice, and guidance. I'd like now to bring to the microphone former New York City Comptroller, current investor in Terminal 6 at JFK, really one of the leading public figures in the region, and he has been not only a support, but again, an advisor and a terrific partner in the JFK project. Bill Thompson.
Thank you, Rick, and good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is a great day. This is not a good day. This is a great day. The weather cooperated and said, yeah, I'm going to be. It is a great day. Now, I got a call last Thursday from Hirsch, who said, Bill, are you coming to the event next week? I was like, absolutely. He said, I'd like you to say a few words. I've spoken to the executive director. Rick would like you to say a few words. I went, you want me to speak on behalf of JMP? And Hirsch said no. So, well, we're equity partners at ATI. We own 30% of the terminal. Do you want me to speak about that? And he was like, no. And I was like, well, what do you want me to say, Hirsch? He said, you know, I want you to talk about things from a historical perspective. Now, once I got past the thought of, and the focus that, do you mean because I'm like the old guy here? And Hirsch said, no, you've been involved in focus in MWBE efforts in the state of New York for years. And I took a step back and thought for a minute. Heck, if you go back just in New York State, and not when I was comptroller in 2002 and the work we did and things have been done over a period of time, New York State, 2011, a focus then on the part of state government and talked about getting to 20% MWBE participation, 20. And we looked and said, wow, that's a great number. Now I wound up as the chair of the first MWBE team in the state. And our goal, our mandate was to not come up with numbers and ideas, how to break down barriers and make sure that people got business. That's where we started back in 2011. And when people said, you're not going to get to 20%, we did. And then set a goal of 30%. And so many have gotten to that. New York State stands as a beacon for the rest of the country. But today, as we look at Kennedy Airport and the number and the goal and the milestone that we've reached today, 2.3 billion. And you look around the room at those who are involved in this, it's a great moment to think of where we started 13 years ago and where we're at now, but also where we can be at, where we will be at moving forward. Now, as I look around the room, and particularly being the fourth speaker, I got to hurry up, but also the realization when you look behind me, nothing happens on its own. Nothing happens on its own. If you just say, this is where I want to get to, and then the work doesn't get done, it never happens. And then we look at each other and complain and wonder why not. Well, wonder why. Why are we here? Nothing happens on its own. First, you have an executive director of the port, and I've known a number of them and worked with a number of them. I've known Rick Cotton back to his private sector NBC days. Rick has, it's not the belief here, he believes here. He believes here. He is a principled man, principled person, carries integrity, and I will tell you, the focus at the port these days is second to none. The port leads the state of New York in focus, and not just what you talk about, what you do. Rick Cotton has held everybody accountable. Rick's been beating my butt at times. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. But this moment wouldn't happen without Rick, without it starting at the top with what he believes in, And the staff and those who work at the Port Authority, they believe too. He has surrounded himself with like-minded people, and they are carrying out his mission. And then the partnership between the port and the elected officials. You've heard from two of them, you will hear from one more, but I will tell you, and Greg Meeks and I, we have figured it out. We've known each other since probably like the mid-1980s, maybe a little bit later than that. Greg Meeks is not above, no, he's not, yeah, I guess he could be my son too. But between the congressman and the borough president and the energy that they bring and the focus that they bring, it is second to none. The assembly person, you'll hear from her in a second, and the other elected officials, holding everybody accountable, working with government, working with the port, holding the private sector accountable, but at the same point letting him know, where can we help you? Where can we bring pressure to make your life easier, to make sure that we all together achieve our goal? So this is a great day. It's a great day because of what it took to get here. The collaboration, the vision, because it takes a vision. You just get there and to give you a sense of, I was in Texas 2 weeks ago, meeting with an elected official. Person didn't know I had an involvement with JFK and was like, you know, I have to get to Washington. I want to meet with Greg Meeks because I want to understand how they're doing it at JFK in New York. And I just kind of looked and smiled and, oh, well, I've met Congressman Meeks, you know. But this is reverberating. What goes on here is reverberating around the country. People are asking about it. And I will tell you, there will be others who will talk to either Rick or elected officials and will want to know how they did it and will try and replicate it. So this is a great day, not just for us, not just for JFK and Queens and the council and so many others. This is about what it may mean if others learn from this and replicate it, what it means for MWBE businesses and the growth and the explosion that it can create. So again, pleasure to be here. This is a great day. And looking back and reflecting, I don't know that I could have imagined that things were going to be this good 14 years later. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you for your partnership, not only at JMP, but really across the board. I would now like to bring to the microphone Assembly Member Alicia Heineman, key member of the community, key member of the Advisory Council. I constantly say, I didn't say it today, you cannot build these major infrastructure projects without support from the community. And we've reached out to the community, but we have been blessed by a set of community leaders who have joined with us, given their advice, held our feet to the fire, but at the end of the day, been partners in moving the project forward. So with that, turn it over to Alicia Heineman.
Good morning. Good morning. So I think Hirsch's plan was if he had us all stand up, that we would be short and sweet. I'm sorry, I think it's backfiring. And everyone's going side to side because if you're like me, you wore your heels and didn't know you'd be standing. But anyway, I'm Assemblymember Alicia Heineman, and I have to say, when we got wind of this project, I embodied the presence of Shirley Chisholm. If no one offers you a seat at the table, bring the folding chair. And I felt as a Southeast Queens community, we could not let this project not represent us. And look around this room. This is what Queens looks like. And the work from when the first shovel went in the ground to now, $2.3 billion is nothing to sneeze at, and we have to be the model for the rest of the country. And thank you. I'm glad you went to Texas and you heard that, because we are hearing that around this country. As we move around, I know we're hearing the same things too. So I will say that for all of the MWBE participation that's taking place. I look forward to the day when we no longer have to use that term. I look forward to the day when we no longer have to say, let's have a disparity study. I look forward to the day when we have, no offense to all the men that behind me, but Jen knows this because we talked about it last week. I look forward to the day when when my daughters can stand here and say, I ran this project, I did this, and I did that. Because it means a lot that we are changing the tide that happens in and around the city, the state, and this country. So to all of the Community Advisory Council members, all of the Zoom meetings that we did during the pandemic, led by Dr. Stacy N.C. Grant, your participation means everything. What we didn't want to happen is to go back to the community, and Jim, you know this, and people look at us and say, well, what did you do? No one on that project looks like us. No one in that project represents us. We did not want to have those conversations, and that's why those tireless meetings that took place on Zoom, it was Microsoft, WebEx, or whatever it was, and it wasn't working, and your bandwidth, and you had to turn off the camera or turn off the mic. As annoying as it was, we knew it was for us, by us, to make sure that this community that we represent looks like us. So I just want to say to my colleagues in the State Assembly, at the time was Michelle Titus, thank you to Assembly Member Vivian Cook, Senators Sanders and Comrie. We sat in a kitchen in Albany to make sure that when this was, we wanted to make sure we had a real community advisory, and with our co-chairs, there was nothing less than excellence to make sure that at every conversation, at every point, we were at the table. And that is why this is the leading project, and that is why we can brag about this, and that is why I am done, because these heels are hurting. Thank you.
I forgot to acknowledge one person, because when I talked about the Port Authority, when I first got in, she helped put me together with the Port Authority. She's still working. Philippa Calderon, thank you for all the work that you've done.
So now we make a pivot, which is a very important pivot, which is to bring to the microphone our private sector partners in building the actual terminals at JFK Airport. And as everyone has said, the private sector is critical in terms of know-how, in terms of what they bring to the table, their history, their experience, and our current partners at JFK, we could not be more proud of or more grateful to in terms of the energy and the dedication they brought to this project. So with that, I'd like to introduce Jennifer Omont, CEO of New Terminal 1.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Ahmed. For those of you who have not met me, it's a real honor to be here on behalf of my team and on behalf of our sponsors, JLC, Ullico, Carlisle, and Ferrovial. I'll tell you our commitment, and the Congressman mentioned the strong foundation that we have in our business, but our commitment to creating economic opportunities and MWBE is woven into the fabric of our business. So what an honor for me to be able to represent my team in this celebration today. So let me first thank Congressman Meeks, Bureau President Richards, the Advisory Council, and of course Rick Cotton for holding the bar very high for us, for your partnership, and personally for your warm welcome for me into this wonderful community. I'm so lucky to be a part of it. What extraordinary talent we have in this room. So let me say to you, it's not just in this room. It's out there on our site. It's in inspecting our construction. It's laying the foundation for what will be the single largest gateway, not just to the Queens, to the greater New York area, but to the U.S. So the stakes are very, very high in what our team is delivering right now. And as the Congressman said, it's a team sport. And for any of you who've played sports, you know you don't leave your best talent on the sidelines when the stakes are really high. And what we are building here at JFK, those stakes couldn't be higher. And we're so pleased to have had your partnership, whether it's the advisory council or for all the businesses that are here out on our site who are going to be working on complex systems, who are sitting at the equity table, who are sitting in the concessions to welcome people here to this great community. You are the best talent that we can possibly bring to this table. And when the stakes are high, you don't leave your best talent on the table. So thank you for all of you for putting not just the vision in place, but for my team and our partners who work tirelessly every day to connect opportunities to this great talent so that we can deliver on the promise to a new international gateway and a new standard for guest experience and a new standard of what community partnership can deliver to the country as the new gateway here to New York. So again, thank you very much. Really pleased to be here on behalf of my team. And we're not done yet. We have a lot of work ahead of us. I'm glad you're here and it's standing room only. We're on the 3rd floor and we're welcoming you right now because we got a lot of work to do in the next 6 months and we're going to need you. So thank you very much.
So now I'm going to jump to Jennifer's partner at New Terminal 1, which is really where the rubber hits the road, which is the general contractor that works for NTO. And here to represent them is Eric Reed, Executive Vice President and New York Region co-lead for AECOM Tishman. And Eric, no pressure, but we are counting on you.
Thank you, Rick. We are certainly the recipient of a lot of yelling, but the message is received. Accountability, we have to deliver on our commitments, and it's truly an honor as representing AECOM Tishman to be the design builder of New Terminal 1, an opportunity that the New Terminal 1 organization and the Port Authority has given us. It's an important milestone for our company. We just recently celebrated our 125th anniversary as one of the leading trusted builders in New York City. And over 50 of those years had been building for the Port Authority. When I look back in projects such as the original World Trade Center, even the JFK redevelopment projects in the 80s here at this site, to the rebuilding of the World Trade Center, and now the building of Terminal 1, each one of these Port Authority projects has pushed us as a company and as a group of individuals, men and women builders, to be better than before and to be bold and transformational, which is really the slogan that we're using to fuel our teams, both in the field and the office, to deliver on our commitments. And certainly Rick and his team are encouraging us to do that, and we take it very seriously. Besides the technical complexity of New Terminal 1, the MWBE goals and the plan were no less bold and transformational. But our team is driven by a belief that diversity is not just a buzzword, but a fundamental strength that fuels innovation, fosters creativity, and propels economic growth. We have witnessed, quite literally, right on the site, right on Terminal 1, we have witnessed the transformational power of inclusion, and it's been driving force behind our commitment, not just on this project, but in all of our projects of uplifting our MWBE businesses. So it gives me immense pride to represent the team here to announce that we've achieved the goals set for us on the New Terminal 1 project. AECOM Tishman has awarded over $1 billion in MWBE contract commitments to over 300 companies, with over 50 of them as primes. Firms like Creative Construction, Bonanza Contracting, and Sky Heights Construction Corporation are working together to make the terminal a reality. You may have heard this at one of the Community Outreach Council meetings. Our MWBE goal of 30%, we've surpassed that. Our local business enterprise goals, Tier 1, 37 zip codes in Queens, we've surpassed that goal. Our Queens-wide LBE goal, our local business enterprise goal of 10%, we've surpassed that. And we're not done yet. We have work to do. We're not done yet. I do want to acknowledge a few of my team members here in the crowd. Jerry Harold, I see Jerry there. He's our diversity lead for Tishman. Jerry, thank you for your commitment to the program. Thorne Edwards, Maxine Forrest, Zulika Gonzalez, Jim Durkin, Anthony Pastor, Mo Bashara. All of these dedicated individuals truly take to heart the commitment to our community and our commitment to MWBE. And I just wanted to say thank you for them. And again, thank you for New Terminal 1. It's a great milestone to be able to award $1 billion of contracts to our partners. So thank you very much.
So I introduced Jen Almond as the CEO of NTO, Terminal 1 on the south end of the airport. Now I'd like to introduce Steve Thody, who is the interim CEO for the JMP, the Terminal 6, and it will cover both 6 and 7. And I might make a final point about these sponsor groups. It is the sponsor groups, NTO and JMP, that bring the money to the table to build the terminals. So we're grateful to them as financial partners. We're also grateful to them for their oversight. And Steve has been a great partner. He has been a long time, for a long time involved in a variety of JFK and Port Authority projects. And I'd like to bring him to the microphone.
Good morning, everyone. I want to just say, before I start with the actual speech, there's a lot of passion across here for sure. So I've only been doing this role for a very short period of time. I had the pleasure of meeting both Congressman Meeks and Borough President Richards. They expressed a lot of passion when we got together to talk about this program. So it's been received. I want to say Terminal 6 is enormously proud to be part of the JFK historic redevelopment and its future legacy as a model for airports to follow. On behalf of the JFK Millennium Partners and our entire team at Terminal 6, we congratulate Governor Hochul, Rick Cotton, and the Port Authority team for their strong leadership and their decisive vision, which has enabled us to reach today's historic milestone. I'd also like to thank the elected officials that are here today and all the ones that support the program, especially our JFK redevelopment co-chairs, Congressman Meeks and Borough President Richards. It might be career limiting if I didn't say thank you to Bill Thompson, who's also here today. So let's just get that one in. You've both been tremendous partners, and your dedication to the project success and our work in the community truly knows no limits. It's been instrumental in helping us to achieve our participation goals to date. While T6 has already achieved 200 MWBE firms and local firms that are working on site, we're not done yet. We're just putting up the curtain wall. We're just closing in the building. We have lots of work to go. We have lots of opportunities to go. Everybody in this room and everybody that's in the local Queens area and MWBEs still have a role to play in the Terminal 6 program. We remain fully committed to supply diversity, but more importantly, it's about creating long-term, sustainable, positive impact on the community that surrounds this airport. I want to say thank you very much to everyone that's here today, and thank you very much to Rick, elected officials, and to Bill.
Thank you, Steve. And I now want to bring to the podium the construction partner, general contractor at Terminal 6, represented by Chris Morante, Senior Vice President of AECOM Hunt. Chris?
Oh, thank you and good morning. No one showed up today to hear me speak, so I'll be brief. The number today is staggering. Don't let my youthful exterior fool you. I've been doing this a long time, and I have never seen a program this robust. And I want to thank the people in this room because it cannot be done by the contractors alone. It's achieved by the programs that the people in this room have put together, and so I thank you for letting us be successful in these programs. Diversity has been mentioned a lot, and it's not just a buzzword. And rather than say more than this, I'm just going to steal Congressman Meeks' phrase. It's good business. It really is. the sports analogy was open, so I'm going to take it another step. Right? Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and Hartenstein. All right? They're winning in 5 because they bring different talents to the court. And construction is no different. I would be remiss. I do want to. My office is here in Building 111 as well, so I'm thrilled that this cafeteria is open. And I do want to at least mention a few of the companies that helped build our office up on the 3rd floor. This part I want to make sure I don't forget anybody, but Certified Interiors, FCS Group, Ashnew International, Deutscher and Daughter, Right Way Demo, and Lurker Electrical, who this was my first time working with them. These folks got us into our space despite a variety of obstacles. I had a schedule, well within my budget, and I thank them for giving me a proper place to work. Thank you.
Okay, we're coming into the home stretch. I do want to now bring the CEO of JFK IAT. Many of you know that as Terminal 4, might be a little more familiar. Roel has been a partner not only on the Terminal 4 project with Delta, but as the operator of Terminal 4 for many, many years now. Roel.
Good morning, everybody. I'm a tall guy from the Netherlands, so I have to put up my mic a bit. Thank you. I have the honor of being number 10 in line, and I've heard that I had to speed up, so I will try. But thank you for joining today in this very, very important announcement. $2.3 billion has been said so many times, and it is remarkable. Something that we have not seen in the Netherlands, and I think apart from Texas, maybe the Netherlands can take pride in copying this model too, because it is really, really remarkable. So I would like to start by congratulating again Congressman Meeks, Borough President Richards, Rick Cotton, and the whole team of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey for the hard work that you have put in to give this opportunity to the local communities to be part of this massive transformation of JFK Airport. As the operator of the largest terminal at JFK, our team at JFK has delivered or has leveraged our expertise in air terminal operations for over 20 years. We opened Terminal 4 in 2001. The company was founded in 1997. And T4's most recent expansion and the transformation that is in progress represents a momentous step forward to achieve the vision to make JFK a modern, world-class airport. As said, JFK IT is a Queens-based business, and we take our role as a community partner and advocate seriously. We have a long history of supporting the community around us, from facilitating local businesses in our street market program in T4, to providing resources to local nonprofits and educational institutions through our For Good program. Last year alone, we were able to donate over $160,000 to local nonprofit organizations and educational institutions. And also this year, we can continue with that, thanks to the generosity of our passengers and employees. We have donated more than $25,000 to Austin Martin High School, Virgil I. Grissom Middle School, and the Jamaica Bay Wildlife Refuge. The transformation of JFK has given our partner, Delta Airlines, and us a new opportunity to work with local businesses and provide gateways to meaningful local investments. The T4 redevelopment program, a public-private partnership between Delta Airlines and JFK IAT, has so far been able to contract over almost $500 million, which is 38% and well over the set targets in MWBE spend, of which 11% over $150 million to local businesses of Queens. I am confident that JFK IT and our redevelopment partners will reach new milestones in the coming months as this important project continues. The milestone that we are celebrating today is a tremendous achievement for us, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Delta Airlines and our community partners, but most of all to the people of Queens. Thank you again.
You clearly represented the average height in your country well. I want to say one word about Delta Airlines before I bring George Guillaume to the microphone. Delta was a partner with us at LaGuardia. They're a partner with us and JFK IAT at JFK. They're a terminal operator. They're an investor. They have been a very, very strong participant in the MWBE program. They are their own general contractor, so they're represented here not only as a partner in Terminal 4, but as the general contractor of the construction project that was part of the JFK rebuild. And we're very, very grateful for their partnership. With that, I will bring George Guillaume to the microphone.
All right. Good morning, all. It's an honor to be here today with you representing Delta Airlines as we celebrate the ongoing transformation of JFK and its impact to our community and the significant milestone achievement in MWBE participation on this project. I'd like to take a moment to recognize Congressman Meeks, Queensborough President Richards, and all the other elected officials who are here today. They play an essential role in the continued success of New York's aviation industry, and we appreciate and look forward to continued partnership with you all, as well as with the Port Authority, IAT, and all the community stakeholders. I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge my leader, who's here today, Ryan Marzullo. As well as Sarah Palmer, who's heading up our construction. As New York's #1 airline, Delta is committed to upgrading and modernizing the airport infrastructure in New York. Since 2010, Delta has invested over $7 billion in New York airports. This includes our most recent project, which is the $1.5 billion expansion of T4, which allowed us to consolidate our operations in January of last year. This project included 10 new gates in a spacious, modernized Concourse A, expanded gates at Concourse B, numerous other improvements in the check-in, security screening, domestic bag claim, and various other technology investments that are designed to maximize ease and efficiency during busy travel times. As someone who grew up in Southeast Queens and graduated from August Martin High School, being a thank you. Being a leader on such a groundbreaking project in my backyard is so rewarding, and I'm extremely grateful to be a part of this project. Delta's mission of connecting the world is much more than getting from point A to point B. It's about creating new memories, fostering stronger cultural ties, and making an impact in the communities we serve. This certainly rings true for the Queens community and state of New York, and one way our impact is reflected is in the thoughtful investments Delta has made in MWBEs right here in Queens. We all heard the numbers, right, so I don't need to repeat it, but through Delta, IAT, and the Port Authority's partnership, with companies such as Queens Bridge Cleaning, Tonnage Industries, as well as Robin Studios and more, we are demonstrating to the country that real progress can be made through public-private collaboration. JFK's future will revolve around innovative and elevated experience. For us to connect New York to the world, travel experience for our passengers must be reflective of our community. Delta looks forward to bringing you, the Queens community, and New York businesses along for the journey as we keep climbing to the new era of travel. Thank you.
American Airlines at Terminal 8 actually was the first project. It ducked a hiatus brought on by COVID. It finished first. It and its general contractor, Holt Construction, were real contributors to the MWBE effort, and I'd like to bring Obi Kernodle, Director of Government Affairs of American Airlines, to the microphone.
Thank you, thank you. Well, first I would just have to say, this morning, you're probably thinking, how did the government relations person get to come up here and speak? Because usually government relations, we're somewhere all the way in the back somewhere, making sure it's something. But I'm going to tell you the truth. there was a email going on, and they asked, like, who's going to go and speak? This was Thursday night, and I will have to sit there and say, I'm from Philadelphia, so I'm a Sixers fan. We just won. So I was hyped. I was like, oh, I'm going to come in and speak in New York because we're going to win game 4. But as this morning, as I got up, and I realized that we got our butts whipped, it was very quiet. So I want to just say thank you. And then I get up, and then you had just the hometown guy get up, and everybody clapping. And then here comes the Philly guy, and it's like, yeah, great. So I understand and I get it, but no, really, thank you for having us, and thank you to Port, New York and New Jersey for us being very special event for us here. One, I would just like to say, as a young African-American male, it is important about the businesses that come. And what I've heard here is not people telling stories, but actually, like you said, the numbers. The numbers don't lie. And here at American Airlines, we surpassed that. It was 30, we did 37. And we're committed to continue to keep doing that. You know, as I will sit there and say, I had a birthday yesterday, and as I'm getting a little bit older, and I'm getting a little bit more wiser, I understand that your time is important. And understanding that if you're committed, you're committed. We've heard, as we say, the wolf tickets, and I guess what you're saying was we're tired of that, and we want to see real results. So only thing I can say here, and I'm going to keep it very short, that American Airlines are committed, we understand, and we will be here. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Test you for him.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for concludes our program. Thank you all for coming.